Hi. Question. What would the music sound like if Doomguy wasn't blood-punching demons or demon-robot hybrids, but instead was determined to kill every last human-born, technology-augmented cyborg in, let's say, San Francisco year 2077? Well, now there's an answer because I, Geoffrey Day, have done some experimenting. But before we can get to that part, we need to unravel the Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal soundtracks to identify what was meant for demons, and then try to make those things a little more cyborg-oriented. I should mention that this video was brought to you in part by the generous support of my patrons. I talk about Patreon benefits at the end of the video, so I hope you stick around. Okay, here we go. Let's recap history real quick. Doom 2016 was not supposed to have guitars, so Mick Gordon gave it an identity based on creating gritty and abrasive sounds from synthesizers. But in order to make it sound more like Doom, the guitars were added in. Yet they were not merely shoehorned into the arrangements, but given a treatment that helped it fit more nicely with the synth-heavy identity that had already been established. I've covered the techniques a lot in my other videos, especially the covers, but it's worth reiterating that most of that sound comes down to making compromises. That probably sounds like some crunchy therapist stuff, but hear me out. When combining organic sounds like guitar playing with synthetic sounds like synthesizers, you either need to make the guitars more synthetic or the synthesizers more organic. Or ideally both. And Mick Gordon, bless his good heart, compromised on all the right stuff. The drums are often organic, but processed like they were electronic. The guitars got treatments that make them bend like synthesizers. The synths got a treatment that sometimes makes them sound like weird guitars. The songs that go straight into heavy metal tend to stay in that zone, and the songs that travel towards the electronic side of the spectrum don't let the guitars break that illusion. It's a masterclass in understanding both sides of that sound design spectrum. Okay, that's all great. But we were talking about demons and cyborgs. Let's dive into the individual parts of the soundtrack and figure out what we need to replace. Maybe we can start with the obvious question, are the guitars demonic? I did a little snooping on Spotify to check out the bands that love pentagrams and Satan, and interestingly, it wasn't the black metal bands that sounded doomy, and it wasn't the gent bands, it was the groove metal bands. I'll come back to that in a second. For now, I'm gonna say that guitars are not demon specific. What about the drums? Also no. There's for sure a lot of different types of percussion, but the bass drops and the double kick drums don't automatically mean pentagrams and hellfire. What about the synthesizers? I mean, that's a pretty vague and open question, but based on the way that they're used to be both notes in the song and otherworldly textures, and the way that they're both whispering in your ear and generating huge atmosphere. And oh yeah, the tension. Everything is just a little out of tune and it never stops moving. I think that much of the synth design is a gigantic yes for being demon specific. Big asterisk from earlier though, the line gets blurred between the organic and the synthetic, the guitars and the synthesizers, and it happens a lot. But that's not necessarily only meant for demon type things, so let's ignore that for now. Last on my list are the non-melodic sound effects. And yeah, I think it's obvious that those sound effects are meant to anchor the music in the world that it's being played in, and that world just happens to have a bunch of demons in it. Okay, I think we can say that the synth design and the sound effects are the most demon-specific things. But remember what I said about groove metal? I think maybe the guitars serve a different purpose in Doom. There's something special about music made for arcade-style gameplay. That is super fast reaction time, spatial awareness, planning on the fly, hands cramping at the controls. What those soundtracks have is consistency of rhythm. As soon as Doom Eternal heavy combat kicks in, the beat of the music stays pretty steady so that you can both jam out and focus on the gameplay. That's why one of the Doom Eternal DLC composers, David Levy, said,
I would always test it against game footage, and I would put the track in the game footage, and I'm like, no, it's too fast or it's too busy. That was a big challenge with Doom.
You know, this also explains why tracks like Mastermind from Doom 2016 also work quite well if they were written like Argent Metal cover songs. So anyway, cyborgs. I don't just want to make a cover this time. I want to make an original song that perfectly encapsulates this idea, and it's going to be inspired by Doom, but I need a direction to go. I think maybe I need some imagery and a reason for cyborgs to be shot at. So hold on, I'm going to do something. Cue the transition. Hi again. So I asked Kina to help create some visual mock-ups for me. She does all my thumbnail art for the cover. She's really great. And then I realized I needed to describe what I wanted her to do. So I started writing a brief and, I wrote 20 pages. I described an entire game. There's characters and locations and everything. Do any of you guys do this when you write music? No? Not really? So yeah, there's a complete storyline, and there's a main character named Regius who has a reason to shoot cyborgs, so it's helping me get in the zone. I gave the whole thing the title Fight Between Realms. There's a link to the 20-page PDF down in the description below, including the artwork that Kina made, which is unbelievable. If you read it, let me know what you think. Okay, let's spin the camera around and get into this music. Water time. Little known fact, Doomguy is extremely dehydrated. While fighting demons in a hellscape involves weird, bendy synths and dissonant sound effects, fighting augmented super soldiers in a cyberpunk metropolis is gonna need some new sounds. You know, there's a lot of guitar parts and a lot of synthesizer parts trading off in here. But the thing that makes it sound natural is that almost everything is running through a guitar amp or a guitar cab. And for the final touch, in the story I wrote that the people of Providence are obsessed with ascending to godhood using technology. And our main man Regius has to shoot his way out of a building of zealots. So I used a vocoder on my voice and managed to make these chants. Hey, it's all done. Ready to hear what Argent Metal heavy combat music sounds like in a gritty cyberpunk world? Without further ado, Providence, the first of 4 original songs from Fight Between Realms. Enjoy. Okay, be honest. What did you think? Am I on the right track? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to support my work and these videos, as well as get access to the deep dives and stems for this song, plus much, much, much more, please consider becoming a patron. The credits rolling are folks already taking advantage of these benefits, and to all of my patrons, thank you so much for your support. You can get the song on Bandcamp for free or any price you think is best, and you can also listen on streaming platforms by checking out the links in the pinned comment below. I've got more covers and originals in the works, so stay tuned, but until then, I've been Geoffrey Day. You've been Next Level, and I hope you come back again for the next video. See ya!